Well, it's actually been a few weeks since I ordered the safety eyes for this super special Halloween spooky season project that I've really been wanting for myself. And I guess I just have to keep working on this elephant because, I don't know, it would have been so much faster if I would have just ordered them directly from China at this point. But I guess I'm just gonna have to keep working on this elephant, and it's gonna be cute and worth it. And wait, is that the mail truck? Is it finally here? Oh my goodness. Now we get to work on our super awesome project. If this is your first time stopping by, hi, my name is Holly. Welcome to my Northeast Ohio home, where I am a cat mom of 3 beautiful, wonderful, loving cats who just love to snuggle. Most of my spare time is spent sitting, knitting and crocheting, and lately watching crappy TV because, you know, Mormon wives. And I just wanted to share everything I love about yarn, stitching, crocheting, knitting, all the fun stuff with you, and I'm glad you stopped by. I can't believe we might be able to finish this project. I've been so excited. I mean, I knew it was going to still be done in time for Halloween, and I can't wait to show you. Wait, where's the... This is definitely... Oh, no. It's all there. I thought it was missing a portion of it. Yay! For the record, there's no way with this packaging, it basically didn't come straight from AliExpress, so that's kind of annoying that I had to wait this long to get them, and I could have spent the same amount of time. Does anyone know, is there like some kind of like shipping trick or something, or like a way to mark it to seem like it got picked up, but it really wasn't? I'm just curious. It's gonna be glitter eyes. It'll probably look so much better on the plushie when she is done. So here's what happened. I decided I really wanted to make myself my very own plushie doll. I use a specific pattern and heavily modify a lot of times, but there is one in particular that I just loved as is, and I even made for a friend for her 30th birthday last year. And I really had a hard time actually gifting it, and I was like, it's fine, I'll make another one for myself. And you know, almost a whole year goes by, and then I started going down, you know, the crochet tube rabbit hole, and then I got introduced to these plushie yarns, and I was watching a lot of Crochet by Jenna, where she was sizing up these sea turtles that she makes, and a lot of times the sizing up was just by using thicker yarn. So I didn't quite know what exactly to expect from the project that I've been working on, and it was a total leap of faith because not every project necessarily can you just go with a bigger yarn size and it works up just the same as in the pattern. A good example of that is this elephant that I've been working on. I am going to have to try to figure out how to get like the proportions right so that it still looks like elefante. So that's going to be a fun challenge for me, I guess, which also means that at some point this is probably going to go into timeout because I've really just been in a headspace where I haven't really wanted to like super think about my projects too terribly much, which I know like it's awful, but I feel like we've all been there. There's times where I do have the attention span and the like that little engineering mind that we all get when we're trying to make our own modifications, but I don't 100% know, and I'm going to actually, I did order different double-pointed needles so that way I can take it off of this and get a better sense of really how this is working up and how much more I actually need to knit, because this was more of a recipe, and then I looked back at the picture from the ones that I have made, and I started counting how many rows I did for the body, and I did that many, and it's still not proportionally right. So this is going to definitely be a thinker, and I can get there. I just don't feel like it right now. So I was really concerned when I wanted to make this plush doll for myself, because I know how it went into a worsted acrylic, and that was actually an accident because, you know, sometimes I can't read or don't feel like reading the whole thing, or I just totally miss details. It happens. And so I didn't realize it was a sport weight yarn that was being used on Tatiana's patterns until I got the yarn and then actually really started getting into the pattern. And then I went, well, let's see what happens. And it worked out. So that wasn't that big of a deal, but I really didn't know how going into a more jumbo plushy type of yarn was going to go. So based on how Crochet by Jenna's loaf cats were turning out and how she explained the difference between Bernat Blanket and the Joann's version, what is a big twist plush, like there is a thickness difference and a difference in how large her loaf cats were turning out. So I figured go big or go home. I went with the bigger one. I actually seriously considered getting the Bernat, like the extra thick, like the super, like it's $20 for like 70 yards or something like that. And I feel like the only reason I did not go down that path that day was because they only had one ball in black, and I knew I was going to need more than one black ball of yarn. And I guess that was for the better, because the size of doll I ended up making was what I had envisioned for that super extra thick yarn. And so I'm very, very thrilled that I picked the big twist plush yarn. And I don't know, I mean, do you want to see how it turned out? I was just over the moon when I finally finished the last stitches and got her hair completed. And I mean, I guess she's sitting right here. Can you believe it? Actually, I need to move back so I can get us both in frame. And like, look at her head. I used over 1 bag of polyfill. Now, I did use the silky polyfill. It is a down alternative, and it is pricier than the polyfill unless you use your coupons. Actually, it's still a little bit more, but the coupons make it better. Also, a lot of times Walmart has better prices on the 24-ounce bag, so if you know you make a lot of plushies and you're willing to make them for yourself. Would I do this in the down alternative for someone else? Absolutely, but I also would charge for it. I mean, other than the fact that I'm really not going to be taking commissions for quite some time after January. That is my cutoff because, well, it's actually January 5th that one of them is due. But so basically after Christmas, I'm, you know, turning it off for a little while on the orders. But like, if you're making a plushie for yourself, I can't even explain how the difference in the smush is. The other modification is I sacrificed a pair of old black socks because, you know, it's thicker yarn. I didn't know there are actually the polyfill beads in here, so like the beanie bag beads, and I do think that really added something really nice. Obviously, the glitter eyes. If you don't have a specialty safety eye jig to install safety eyes, especially for these large eyes, I did not use the boiling trick. Instead, I used a pair of pliers that I had laying around the house, and honestly, I think it worked out just fine. It was worth the wait. I was just getting impatient, as we do, because once you're on a roll, you're just like, okay, but now I just want to keep going. Oh my gosh, I don't mean to choke you. And I just like smack her in the eye. And I did put neck support in here, but I severely misjudged how stiff that was going to need to be and how floppy and heavy her head was going to be with all the polyfill that I had to put in there. The head alone was probably 3/4 of a bag. I mean, by this point I was going into my second bag, so I'm just trying to envision. It was probably at the halfway point, and then, you know, yeah. So I'm super thrilled. I also watched a ton of videos and found the best way to go ahead and do the stripes without getting that jog in here with the thicker yarn, because there's a lot of really great techniques for acrylic or some of the thinner yarns that you don't notice it as much. I 100% already forgot how I did this, and I'm really hoping I saved the video. And if I did, obviously I will share that down below with you, because like, look at how awesome that turned out. That there's no sense of like starting the new row or anything like that. So, or at least very little. If I look super close, I can see it. I put the black socks in the legs, put the polyfill beads, also not an inexpensive endeavor entirely, and then I sewed the tops of the socks off, and then I did kind of wish I would have done a beanie butt so I could sit her somewhere, but you know, that's hindsight. I'm looking at doll stands that will hold her this way. I don't think some of those 3D printed amigurumi like sticks that you can stick up here, because her head is so, you know, weighted at this point. I don't think that's going to help. Plus, again, I do have felt support in here, like super tightly rolled up inside there, and so that's not going to work either. So I'm looking at those traditional doll stands where it, oh my gosh, I just like keep smacking her in the face. But I don't know if you can tell like how I'm holding her, like, you know what I mean? Like the porcelain dolls back in the day when, I don't know, we all had them and our grandmothers loved them and they were also collecting them, or maybe that was just me and my grandmother. I don't know. Of course she's ready in enough time for Halloween, but I don't know why. I wanted her done by September 1st. Was, I mean, kind of arbitrary. The saga is over, except that now I just get to like smush her all the time. And seriously, do not underestimate the smushability of the more expensive polyfill, and I do tend to stuff the daylights out of them. I tried my best not to go super overboard on this one to keep some of that smushability, but I also understand, you know, polyfill is going to settle a little bit over time. She is now my desk mate and our emotional support plushie doll at work, because I took her in actually today because, you know, I was so excited. I finished her last night and I was like, I gotta take her in. And then, you know, realized I didn't actually finish filming the reveal. So, oops. So sorry they got to see the spoiler before you did. Anyway, I'm super thrilled. I hope you check out Tatiana's patterns and make whatever size Wednesday or other character inspired doll for yourself. It is so worth it. And whatever size, whether you use the sport weight, the acrylic weight, you know what I meant, the worsted weight acrylic, any of that, anywhere in between. All of her patterns work up beautifully. All the other details are down in the description, all my materials. I ended up buying 2 balls of the black, one of, I want to say this is almond, and one in white, so I have a ton of white left over, and I knew that was going to happen, and that's okay. And I probably have about a half of the, again, I want to say it's almond, but I don't remember. And I have it tucked away because the cats are super playful right now, so, you know, I didn't want them tearing into it. I have approximately half a skein left, so if you have a skein and a half, you might have enough to go ahead and finish your own. I can link the Etsy shop if anyone wants for these eyes, but honestly, I could tell, I mean, they didn't even really make an effort to do much to repackage any, I mean, really, if any effort to repackage the ones from AliExpress. And I did find the listing for AliExpress that is identical to these eyes. If I saved that link, which I'll be shocked if I didn't, but you know, it's me, things happen. I'll go ahead and just put all the materials down below, poly beads, all of that fun stuff. Some of the stuff I have affiliates for, some of them I don't. I'm still waiting on Joann's to see if they will approve my affiliates, so it doesn't matter. I just want you to be able to make one of your own if you so choose. Otherwise, go ahead and pick out whatever yarn you want for your own spooky season. Friend, she's like small child, seriously. And for reference, I'm like nearly 6 feet tall, so like, actually, you know what? Where's my tape measure? It's funny because from this angle, she almost has like a Precious Moments look to her. But you know, it's Wednesday, so I did seriously consider putting like, you know, a little bit of a mouth here, like a straight across mouth. And obviously I wasn't going to do blush because, you know, it's Wednesday. That's also why I picked a super pale tan color for her skin. Well, almond color for her skin because like it's Wednesday. Hook size and everything will be below. However, I am looser on the tension than most people, so take my hook size with a little bit of a grain of salt and just experiment and see what kind of fabric that you prefer. I did not make any particular effort to make this very tight knit or crocheted, and you don't see any of this stuffing, honestly. This is like super accurate, right? About 25-ish inches? I don't know. It's hard to say because I'm doing it with one hand. Oh, you know what else would be smarter is if I laid her down and then measured. Again, not perfect. I'm coming up with about 26 inches. Around that size, and you know, I'm just so happy, and we're so glad that you stopped by, or well, as glad as Wednesday is going to be, and well, I can't wait to visit with you in the next one, but I don't want to speak for her, so yeah. Ooh, just in time for my trip next week, a fall yarn haul. When I ordered this, it was over the weekend, and I didn't know how quickly they were fulfilling orders with the huge influx of fall yarn purchasers like myself. So let's go ahead and check out what I got.